Hello folks, welcome to another video. And yes, not quite a weekend video, not quite, I guess you can call it a midweek video. So I got the other video that I shot a few days ago, edited. It just needs to be uploaded, and hopefully get this one edited and uploaded before the weekend. So this is smoking today is the Gurkha Centurian, and it is a classical cigar shape, the torpedo shape. And so you know when you watch cartoon, Bugs Bunny cartoon or the Looney Tunes cartoon, and you see the bad guy smoking a cigar, it's going to be this classical cigar shape. They call it a submarine shape. So let me cut it. And yeah, and don't mistaken, this is the side that you light, this is the head. And I'll be using my Zycar wedge cutter. And I bought this like long ago. And see here, I'm trying to snip off the least I can. See here, there you go. Pretty clean cut, I would say. All right, let's toast it. It does have a pretty small foot on it, so where you can where you light. Nice smooth draw. Now the humidor, I took this out of, was sitting at like 54. Yeah, I know. I've 54%. You bad dog, get away! Stop taking things out of the garden, dog. You leave right there. Yeah, so I have a watermelon patch that, of course, some of the watermelons, they're not getting as big as the watermelon at the store, mainly because I messed up and planted them too close to each other. And again, if with certain plants, if you plant them too close to each other, they will not get big. Watermelon's one of those plants. Nice smooth draw. This is a light cigar, it's not even a medium. But yeah, this is a whole lot better than the Oliva that I had the other day. Leave that alone, dog. I'm on to you, dog. Yeah, and of course it's so hot, it's 100+ degrees every day. And a few of the watermelons that were in the patch, that they literally split in half. And I'm like, you know what? Hey, just leave them in the patch. Let them, go back to the earth, be fertilizer. The little puppy, the old hound dog, he's not bothering. She keeps going in there and taking those watermelon, the rotting rind of the watermelon out of the garden, bringing it in the house. Of course, this time I caught her and she dropped it here in the porch, which I'll clean up after I finish smoking. Alright, let's get my water. So in the news, a certain WNBA star. Now I remember this was what, a year and a half ago this happened, where I guess she went to Russia, not to visit, but I guess it was to play in the Russian Women's League. I don't know, Russia had a women's basketball league. Oh, she was just there to visit. So she was caught with weed, cannabis, in her luggage, and now she's rotting in jail in Russia. I don't know what the sentence is, but cannabis, 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 2 pound, 10 pounds, it doesn't matter. It's illegal. Yes, and I have traveled internationally. And my suggestion to you is, unless it is a prescription medicine and you have it in one of those prescription vials, from CVS, your pharmacy, or wherever it is you get your meds, take your prescription with you. If you can get a copy of it from your pharmacist. But other than that, don't have any medication. in your luggage. Not even aspirin, not even stomach medicine, because all of that, or heartburn medicine, because all of that you can get at wherever it is you're going. Yeah, because I used to travel, did some international travel, read up on it. A lot of people are saying, hey, don't take anything, no medication with you at all. Most of the stuff you can buy when you get there, and it's true. You can buy it at the port of entry, whichever airport you land at. Or wait till you get to the hotel. A lot of times there'll be, corner stores near hotels, or there'll be stores in the hotel lobby. You can buy, Pepto-Bismol, or diarrhea medicine, heartburn medicine, aspirin, or Tylenol. And yeah, and of course she's trying to get a hold of Biden. I think she tried calling the Biden admin. They won't answer. I think she wrote him a letter that I don't even know if it even got to the Biden admin. So they're ignoring her. So now she's reaching out to LeBron James, who pretty much told her, hey, don't come back to the U.S. No, the U.S. sucked. Don't come back to the U.S. The reality is that if she was caught in pretty much any airport in the U.S., nothing would have happened to her. Most they would have done was confiscate the weed, and told her, don't bring that crap here. Yeah, even here in Texas. I don't know how much it was that she was caught with. If it was like, let's see here. I think they were saying it was like 2 pounds. I don't know. She's trying to sneak 2 pounds of weed into Russia. It's a lot cooler tonight, actually. Either way, LeBron James ain't going to help her. So she's, whatever her sentence is, 5 years, 10 years, she's going to be stuck there. Yeah, and I'll close this story, this segment on this. So there's a pic of a shirtless pic of her, and yeah, people in the comment section, I think it was someone posted on Twitter. In the comment section, like, hey man, that's a man's chest. I don't care how you put it. Yes, there are flat women, but that's a man's chest. You dumb dog, leave Pepe alone. Yeah, so another frog has made his way, or has found his way to my garden. Hopefully he doesn't find his way to the pool. And yes, I water the plants in the garden. There's plenty of water in the garden. He doesn't need to go to the pool. This is a nice cigar, smooth draw, not very strong at all, and yeah, it's not pretty nice even burn. I'm probably going to have to take the band off here in a little bit. Yeah, so people are like, okay, did the Russians check down there, and stick her in the correct prison? Because yeah, no, over in Russia, they don't care what you say your gender is. They go by what you're carrying, down there. So if you got balls, so if you got dinglings and sausages, they're gonna put you in the men's prison. If you got flapjacks, if you don't have, dinglings and sausages, they're gonna put you in the women's prison. And yeah, and this is Russia. That they don't do that. Identify as this or that. And yes, and people said it. If you start putting these trans women who haven't gone through surgery, even if the guys are taking hormone blockers, hormone therapy, if the parts are still down there, it's still functional. And it didn't take long, those trans men who hasn't gone through the surgery, who were put into the women's prison. Uh, yeah, I guess the dog was tearing up some stuff here on the porch. Yeah, so now women in women's prison are are winding up pregnant. You leave Pepe alone. The frog is not going to do anything to you, little dog. Don't you bite it. It'll be a vet visit. Alright, so anyways, and of course we got the Joe Biden. She came out and apologized for calling Hispanics breakfast tacos, and at first her people came out and said it was a gaffe, that she said it by accident. And yeah, people say no, it's not a gaffe. You know, if you go and look at the video, she's reading it. So whoever wrote it, you know, they wrote it and she read it. Okay, looks like Pepe made it to the watermelon patch. That dog. And yes, there are tons of memes out there. There's even a song meme where they got like a little mustache and a sombrero. So recycling. So you know, since we're and of course I'm surprised. I saw a video on YouTube, a TED Talk video where I'm surprised they let the guy even get up on stage and speak, where he's talking about renewables will not save the future. And the thing is that renewable energy is not renewable. One, the windmills, the wind turbines got to be replaced every 15 to 20 years. Solar panels got to be replaced every 15 to 20 years. They're non-recyclable. The process to make solar panels and wind turbines cost a lot of CO2 to make. And yes, CO2 is invisible, folks. So if you're saying hey, I see CO2 pollution, you're lying. So it's like say I see oxygen. Oxygen is also invisible. So the guy is correct. I'm surprised. This video is like 3 years old. I'm surprised. I was like, hey, you know, it came at my YouTube suggestion of videos, and I was like, oh, let me check it out. It's like, okay, you know, he makes a lot of good points, and yeah, there is no such thing as renewable energy. Just like there's no such thing as the what is that machine? The infinite motion machine. There's no such thing as an infinite motion machine. There's no such thing as renewable energy. Everything that creates energy costs energy. You got to put energy in order to get energy out. And yeah, and it costs CO2 to make solar panels and windmills. They got to be replaced by every decade or two, and they don't generate nearly as much as nuclear, coal. You know that yeah, and an interesting article that I bumped into. Well, someone mentioned it, and then I went and looked it up. They're saying that coal is fossil fuel. You know, you'll find fossils and stuff inside coal. Basically, it's when a landslide, a tsunami, a volcano eruption, something of a massive scale that causes a large amount of plants and animals to get buried in dirt and mud, and then I guess a high pressure situation where maybe a mountain or something comes over on top of it, and that creates coal. But oil, on the other hand, they're saying oil is not fossil fuel, and it has never been fossil fuel. And that oil is made from I think it's sodium chloride. I think sodium chloride and some other It's basically two chemicals, and these are two of the most plentiful chemicals on the surface of the earth. So sodium chloride, which is oh, it's not sodium chloride. So I'll look it up. I'll look it up and put in the comment here down here if I remember. But yeah, basically, I think it's sodium chloride and some other bromide or some other chemical. And it's the same thing. These two chemicals get mixed together somehow under high pressure for a long time, and they turn into oil. And supposedly some researchers in Houston actually get the name of the facility. Well, yeah, so some research facility in Houston has actually combined those two chemicals and made oil. I say, yeah, that makes sense. No fossil has ever been found in oil. Now, and if you think about it, it's not dinosaurs, it's not plants from the dinosaur age that's been dead and combined under high pressure, and they become liquefied and turn into oil. So that makes a lot more sense. And of course, the oil industry don't want you to know this because it's plentiful. Because I remember reading years ago where a geologist, and he said, hey, we got like 2,000 years of oil that is in the ground, and of course the greenies will come back and say, well, oil is a finite resource. Well, so are the materials used to make solar panels and wind turbine. So are the materials used to make batteries. All of that is finite. But we shouldn't use it all. We should, and I agree, we should use other. Hey, you leave that. Don't you touch that, dog. You're all wet there. You've been in the garden, haven't you? And I agree. Hey, we should add solar farms and wind turbines. To our energy, and not just depend 100% on coal and nuclear, but again, renewables are a grift, basically. Elon Musk became a billionaire off of the renewable energy grift. His Tesla. Yeah, the guy had money to begin with, but he basically became a billionaire off of us, the U.S. taxpayers, and he basically became the richest man in the U.S. Off of U.S. taxpayers. It's a good grift, and I wish I thought of it. But anyway, so recycled trash. Yeah, it's like the ash fell off and it's kind of flaky, which means that the cigar is a little dry, and that's fine. I'd rather smoke a little bit drier cigar than one that's too humid and you can't. It's a hard draw. Yeah, so. Again, the trash that you put out, the recycled trash that you put out, and yes, I have a big old container that I throw all the cardboard, paper, beer bottles, soda cans, and unfortunately, only 10% of that gets recycled. The other 90% either goes in the in landfills, in the ocean, or it goes overseas to these huge burn pits. And the reason for that is that recycling is just expensive. And there's no return. For the recyclers, they make their money off of money from the government. They're not making their money from the recycling. They're making their money from the government grift. Or else those guys couldn't stay in business. Now, if Big Brother is keeping them in business. And the thing about paper is you can only recycle paper, whether it be cardboard, or printer paper, stuff like that. They can only be recycled twice, and after that, the fibers, the fibers of the paper, I guess, become too degraded to where it can't be recycled again. Same thing for plastic bottles. They can only be recycled about 2 times. See, this one, yep, recycled, yep. And empty and replace cap, recycle plastic bottle. So my question is, mainly with paper, because this bottle, there's nothing on it. I mean, there's a little thing here that tells you to recycle the bottle, but there's nothing that says that this bottle was made from recycled plastic. Oh, wait a minute. Made better. Help to conserve spring. Made better. So anyways, so I got to thinking, if all of the cardboard boxes that we get, printer paper, if you're in school, notebook paper, if all of that is recycled paper, the question is, where is the original paper? Yeah, I know you think like, yeah, I know what you're thinking. The same thing I'm thinking. Same thing with plastic bottles. If all of these plastic bottles are made from recycled plastic, where's the original, where's the original plastic bottle coming from to get recycled from? I'm thinking a lot of these companies are just slapping the recycled, that recycled, that 3 arrow in a triangle. I think a lot of companies are just grifting. They're just slapping that on there to get tax cut from the government or to get government subsidy, just like the recyclers. Yeah, we're recycling, so Big Daddy government, please give us some subsidy. Same thing for these paper companies. They're just paper and bottle companies. They're slapping that logo on there so they can get government subsidy. Because if you think about it, where is the original paper coming from? Who are the consumers that are getting the original paper, the original cardboard, the original plastic bottles? Same thing for the glass bottles. Glass can actually be recycled pretty much almost infinitely. I guess it's just the nature of glass, which is made from silica, which is sand. And I guess glass, if you I don't know how they recycle glass. I'm assuming they smash it up into pieces, fire it in a furnace to melt it, and then turn it back into glass and turn it back into a bottle. Which would make sense why glass can be recycled infinitely. Pretty infinitely. I would say 10, 20 times would be pretty close. So those are the things that make that. I was like, what the? Yeah, because I was watching a show about recycling, so I started thinking, like, wait a minute, man. They're forcing us to drink. They're forcing us to drink with paper straws. If you're in the West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington State, where after, if you don't finish your drink in 5 minutes, the straw collapses on you. And yes, a lot of those straws are lined with oil-based wax to keep them from collapsing. So you're still using oil. And yes, plastic is a substance that's made from oil. And without oil, all of you greenies out there, without oil, we won't have modern society. We would be living in mud huts eating bugs. Yeah, and I'll close on the bugs. So again, not just Nicole Kidman. Now you got Andrew Lee and some other Hollywood stars coming out showing people that they're eating bugs. It's like, are you guys ever going to cook these bugs, or are you just going to eat raw bugs? That tells you they don't know a thing about eating bugs. Go watch some YouTube videos of Asian folks over in the Philippines, you know, Vietnam and Thailand, you know, they actually cook their bugs, and yes, they're running out of bugs over there. So all of you bug farmers here in the U.S., since there's not a market for your bugs, you know, except for us folks who have lizards. Yes, and ordering your bugs online right now, especially here in Texas, where it's like 100+ degrees. Yeah, they will have to ice the bugs before they send them, or else you know, you're going to get pre-cooked bugs in the mail. Hey, drop it. Yeah, that's right, you little turd dog. She went back into the garden and grabbed another rotting watermelon rind. Of course, I'll probably just throw those in the trash, because if I throw it in the garden, the dog will grab it again. That little stinker. So yeah, Asians who, yeah, the 2 billion people, the Asians and the Latinos, I'm not going to say Latino X, the Latinos in Central and South America who do eat bugs, they actually cook the bugs before they eat it. Now there is one video, and this is only in Vietnam. Only the Vietnamese folks eat these particular larvae, which is a tree larva. And I remember a buddy who went to Vietnam, who I guess he's I guess an American Vietnamese, you know, born and grew up here. So he goes back there, and you know, and the guy's like, "Hey man, we're going to show you something. We're going to show you something cool to eat." So he's like, "Yeah." They come back with this tree stump, and they're hacking at it, and they're pulling out these big white, you know, like 3-inch long grubs from the stump that they brought over, and they were hacking at it. And he's like, they're eating it raw. I mean, they have a sauce. It's like a hot sauce that they dip it in. Yeah, and these bugs, if you look at the video, they got big old chompers. I was like, he's like, no, I couldn't eat it. But those guys, you know, they were munching down like it was you know, like it was nothing. Of course, you know, they grew up there. They grew up eating that stuff. Darn bug flew into my shorts. So anyways, I was like, dude, man, I wouldn't eat it either. So of course, that's when I jumped on YouTube. There's a bunch of videos out there. I was like, dude, is that it? He's like, yeah, man, that's it, man. I was like, oh man, there's no way I'd be able to eat that. He said, are you crazy? Yeah, I don't care how good the sauce is, but I'm not eating it. Yeah, this is a good cigar. Now, Gurkha, I call Gurkha the Toyota. The Toyota of cigars. You know, they're not the best and they're not the worst. They're just good all around cigars. And mine's a little bit dry. You can see the wrapping's kind of flaking. Gotta keep hydrated. So yeah, so the 2 billion people who do eat bugs, they actually cook their bugs before they eat them, and it's not the only thing that they eat. You know, they do eat chicken and pork. Thailand's pretty big on beef. You know, chicken, pork, and beef. But in most parts of the world, it's going to be chicken and pork. And then, of course, you know, there's bugs that you can eat, but it's not like the only. Yeah, and here's the thing: bugs are not going to be. They're not sustainable. Unfortunately, bugs are not sustainable as a food source. Again, if it was, you know, folks in South America, Central South America, folks in Asia would have been mass producing bugs already, but most of it is wild caught, and lots of it is okay, it's the dog, and lots of it is farmed, but it's not mass farmed. Bugs tend to die when you try to mass farm them, because if you think about it, you know, kind of cattle. Yeah, there's more cattle on Earth than there are humans. it's 8 billion of us, and there's something like 10 billion cattle. And if you were to take, it's just like any animal. Bugs are animals too, folks. They're not this. Bugs are not these mythical creatures. They're not these things that just crawls around for your pleasure. Bugs are also animals. And with anything, if you overcrowd any animal, they're going to die off, and that's what's happening. It would be like having diseases. And yes, bugs have diseases, parasites that also infects them. And the mold, bacteria. Yeah, they're animals, so they get mold, bacteria, infections, virus infections. So if you got bugs in a mass quantity in some warehouse or whatever, they're going to die off. It would be like having a field where the cattle is just shoulder to shoulder, and there's nowhere to move. They're disease and things like that are going to take over, and cattle are going to die off. And luckily, there hasn't been anything in the news about cattle just dropping over dead from heat. Luckily, just give them some water, some shade. Cows cannot stand out in the 90, 100 degree temperature all day long. They too would die from heat stroke, just like humans. Yes, and speaking of 8 billion people, oh, what the ash fell on my foot. I didn't even notice. Anyways, so someone did a graphical, and they're saying that if you took 8 billion people, stuck them in a 3x3 square, or stuck each person in a 3x3 square cube, and and lined them up, it would only come out to a 500 square mile cube. And if you look at that from space, that's nothing. From space, you won't even be able to see a 500 square mile cube from space, unless you look at with the naked eye. You wouldn't. You have to use a telescope of some kind. And the grid the guy showed was the Yucatan Peninsula, where Baja and stuff, Baja, Mexico is at. And he's like, yeah, the 500 square mile would fit right on the Yucatan, a strip of the Yucatan Peninsula, which is small. So I was like, yeah, that's if you put it that way, yes. And the same thing, if you were to build a 3-bedroom home, a 1,200 square feet home, 3-bedroom 1,200 square feet home, for all 8 billion people, one house for one person, it would actually fit in Central Texas. So if you were to build a mega city, and you wanted to build a home for each 8 billion people, it would fit in Central Texas. But of course, the mega city that the WEF want to build would be one kind of like in Judge Dredd, where it's these mega high-rise, 100-story tall mega high-rise apartment buildings, where of course, if you did something like that, you could probably fit 8 billion people in probably a city that's 50 square mile. If you were to build these 100 these mega apartments that's like 100 stories tall. And that's what they want us living in. They want us living in these, kind of like in China, they want us living like in China, in these mega cities. Yeah, if you go to China, the countryside is sparsely populated. It's actually beautiful. It's very green, lush. And then you got these mega cities that's got 10, 20 million people living in them. And yes, and China has I'll just say 1.5 billion people. Same with India. They got 2 billion people. And supposedly India is trying to switch over to electric or to batteries. And someone mentioned, I want to look it up and say, okay, yeah. So basically India is producing 400,000 megawatts of energy, and they're only using 300,000 megawatts of energy. And or was it 400, I think it's 400 gigawatts of energy, and they're only using 300 gigawatts of energy. But the thing is that India is not. They're still they're transitioning between a rural or a farm type community to I guess a modernized industrial / technical society. Because if you look at India, so yes, the 400 gigawatts that India produces can handle, what energy they're using now. Because if you look at India, at nighttime, besides Bombay and some of the other bigger cities, it's pretty dark. Compared to, if you look up north to China, it's their east coast, so where Beijing, China, Shanghai, and all their big cities, it's all lit up. Compared to Europe, compared to the U.S., which is all lit up. So the thing is that if they're converting all of their three-wheeler taxis, I don't know what they're called. But the thing is, they're going to get hit with a surprise. They're going to be like, all right, man, we got to go back to 50cc. Yeah, I mean, and these three-wheel taxis are using 50cc scooter engine basically, and that doesn't take much oil, doesn't take much gas at all. So I don't even know why they're doing bug. Oh, darn it! I stepped on the tiger beetle. Yeah, he's actually the one that cleans up all the bugs on the porch. Whoops, sorry, dude. He's dead. Well, another one will take his place. Oop. Yeah, these darn June bugs, man, they're flying down my shirt, up my shorts. Well, so I'll close it on that. Yes, EV cars are a dead end. And again, if you want to buy them and if you're into them, hey, by all means, they're available. You can buy them. But you've been forewarned. You're going to want your next car you're going to want is going to be a gas car. And unfortunately, they're trying to phase that out. And we're all going to be and of course we're all going to suffer for the greenies, because of the greenies, unfortunately. And oh yes, I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video, but yeah, I did. It's not Planned Parenthood. It's I guess some abortion doctors or some pro-abortion group of doctors in San Francisco wants to open up in international water. They want you get away. That's cigar ash. Yeah, the cigar's almost gone. So they want to open up an abortion clinic, a floating abortion clinic out in international water, which is of course 300 miles from the coast is when you hit international water. So if it's 301 miles, they're in international water. But the problem with that is, unless they fly, unless they're on some sort of a carrier, I don't know if helicopters can. I think helicopters will make the bigger helicopters. I don't know about the small Bell helicopters that you see flying around in cities and the ones that like the news people and stuff use. I don't know if those can cover 300 miles. Because if you try to go by boat, it's going to be a 10 to 12 hour trip one way. If you take a helicopter, yeah, if there's a helicopter pad, so they want $20 million, and to these folks, they can go to George Soros and he'll give them $20 million. But a helicopter could definitely make it out there. But then again, a helicopter is expensive. You know, the fuel for it's going to be expensive. But a helicopter, I guess, could definitely make it out there. It's got to refuel, so they got to have fuel for the helicopter. I don't know how many people the helicopter can fit. Now, we're not talking about a Chinook, you know, the flying banana. So we'll see how that goes. Yes, and they're going to stick it right there at the Gulf Coast, where Texas, Louisiana, I think Mississippi, Alabama, where it's all illegal. All right, well, enjoy your smoke, your cigar, your cigarette, weed where it's legal. Your vape, I guess, while the juice is still available for you to vape. And thanks for watching.